Hey, what's up folks? DJ Remark here, and in this episode I am going to be talking about the proper way to use AI to write your script. So without getting too deep into the conversation of what AI means for writers, I'm just going to say that right now it's a tool that writers can use to cut down a lot of the labor and a lot of the time thinking about certain aspects of their script. They can just plug in what they want the AI to know and then prompt it to make something that they would otherwise be making anyway in half the time or even less. So the point of this video is to teach you the proper way to use AI for writing your script. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so here we are in ChatGPT. Now, the first thing that you're going to have to do is create an account. So what you want to do is you want to click sign up, and then what that's going to do is that's going to bring you to a account creation, and then you put in your email address, or you can continue with Microsoft, Google, Apple, whatever you want to do. So once you create your account, then this is what it's going to look like. And you can have some examples here, capabilities, limitations, blah, 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 everything that ChatGPT can currently do. And then over on this side, you will have a sidebar that shows you things that you've already done. Now, we're not going to need that, but I would recommend that you don't clear out this side panel, especially if you're writing similar work, because what ChatGPT does is it learns as you interact with it. So it will start to learn about you in so far as things that you like to write about, ideas that you do like, ideas that you don't like, any 3-act structure that you would rather have or you would rather not have, and the types of scripts that you're writing. And now, if you were to just ask ChatGPT, write me a script, this is what it's going to put out. So it's going to say, can you please provide me with some details about the topic or genre of the script? Additionally, let me know the approximate length and any specific requirements or scenes you'd like to include. The more information you provide, the better I can assist you in creating a tailored script. So, okay, so right now, ChatGPT is going to let us know how much help it needs to write a script. And you're going to notice that what it writes is not necessarily, it's not necessarily good. It's definitely first draft type stuff. So we are horror filmmakers, so let's say we're going to type in, write me a script for a horror short film. It must take place in a single location with 3 actors. The length of the short film must not exceed 15 minutes. Okay. So this is what it's going to pump out. It's going to pump out sort of a breakdown in the beginning and then a script. And it's going to go and it's going to have everything that it needs. Now, obviously, this is not in script format. So you as a writer are going to have to take this into an actual script writing software, format it correctly. But this is what it did. So it titled The Dark Reflection, genre horror, approximately 15 minutes. Location, a small, dimly lit antique shop. Characters, Emily, Lucas, and Mrs. Withers. A young woman, curious and adventurous, a lead. Emily's skeptical boyfriend, supporting. Miss Withers, the utterly and mysterious shop owner, supporting. So let's see what happens with this script. So, interior antique shop day. The scene opens inside a dusty, dimly lit antique shop. Various antique items fill the shelves, creating an eerie atmosphere. Emily and Lucas browse through the items, their footsteps echoing. Emily whispering, "This place gives me the creeps, Lucas." Lucas rolls his eyes. "Come on, Emily, it's just an old shop. Nothing to be afraid of." Mrs. Withers, an elderly woman with piercing eyes, appears from behind a curtain. She approaches the couple. "Welcome, young souls. Looking for something particular, perhaps?" Emily, "Just exploring. Your shop is fascinating." Mrs. Withers, "Fascination often leads to unexpected discoveries. Be mindful of what you seek." Emily's eyes are drawn to a beautifully crafted antique mirror. Pointing at the mirror, "That mirror is exquisite. Can I take a closer look?" "Of course, my dear, but remember, blah, blah, blah." Okay, so I'm not going to read this whole thing, but essentially this is going to pump out a first draft of a script. And this is not necessarily, the way that it's written, this is not necessarily a 15-minute long script, because if you know anything about filmmaking, action lines and dialogue take different amounts of time to film, depending on what the action is. Dialogue usually takes longer. And it looks like there's a lot of dialogue in this. So this is not a script, okay? Anybody who tells you to take this, print it, and shoot it is setting you up for failure, because we can do a lot more with this. So this is the first draft of the script. Now, what I recommend that you do, and we're gonna go and we're gonna do a new chat. So we're gonna open up a new chat, and what I recommend that you do is you tell ChatGPT to think of, let's say, 3 creative, unique scenarios for a short horror film that take place in one location. They have 3 characters, and the story can't exceed 15 minutes. All right, so let's type that in. Okay, so we typed in, give me 3 unique creative ideas for a horror short film that takes place in one location with 3 characters and cannot exceed a 15-minute runtime. Now, like I said prior to, none of these are going to meet or exceed 15 minutes. They might go longer. It really depends on after you write the script and do the breakdown. So the ideas that it gave, so I said, give me 3 unique creative ideas. So the first one is The Mirror's Curse. And there's a synopsis, there's a location, there's the characters, and what, maybe a little bit of the character bios, what the themes of this story are, okay? And that's one. The second one is The Silent Spectre. It gives a synopsis, location, characters. Third one is The Forgotten Room, and it looks like ChatGPT just numbered all of these 1. Usually it's pretty good about numbering 1, 2, 3, but, whatever. So now what you as a writer should do is look at these and go, okay, well, I think that The Silent Spectre is my favorite because it takes place in a secluded cabin. It's paranormal investigators, and it's going to be a ghost story, right? So that's pretty easy to do, pretty cheap, and it's one location. So the synopsis is, in a small secluded cabin nestled deep in the woods, 3 paranormal investigators, Rachel, David, and Alex, gather to uncover the truth behind the cabin's haunted reputation. Armed with cameras, recording devices, and their expertise, they plan to capture evidence of the supernatural. However, as night falls, they realize they are not alone. An unseen malevolent force torments them, making disturbing sounds and manipulating objects. With each passing minute, the presence grows more aggressive, pushing the investigators to their limits. And then, so the location, so that's a pretty decent synopsis. Location, a rustic cabin surrounded by dense foreboding woods, isolated from civilization. Characters, Rachel, David, and Alex, who this is. And then the themes are the fragility of the human mind, the dangers of exploring the unknown, and the fine line between the skepticism and belief. So I am going to select The Silent Spectre, and I'm going to say, write a 3-act breakdown of The Silent Spectre. And here we go. So, ChatGPT suggests that the setup are Rachel, David, and Alex, 3 paranormal investigators arriving at the secluded cabin. They set up their equipment, including their cameras, recording devices, EMF meters, to capture evidence of the supernatural. Rachel establishes their purpose to uncover the truth behind the cabin's haunting and document their findings. Then it gives you the inciting incident. And then Act 2, confrontation, the escalation, the midpoint, Act 3, showdown, resolution, wrap-up. So ChatGPT is very familiar with 3-act structures. And if you're familiar with the screenwriter Blake Snyder, ChatGPT is also very familiar with the Blake Snyder's beat sheet. So what you can also do is you can say, break down this short film using Blake Snyder's beat sheet. And here we go. So now you have both a 3-act breakdown and Blake Snyder's beat sheet breakdown. And what you then as a writer can do is you can copy all of this and paste it into a Google Docs or Microsoft Word document or whatever your word processing software or what your preferred word processing software is. And you can use this to then write your script. Because what you as a writer still have over AI is your creativity and your conflict generation and resolution. So ChatGPT can give you ideas, but you as the writer, you're the only one that's going to be able to actually take all of these elements and put them into a coherent script. Because one of the limits to ChatGPT right now is that the more it writes, the less coherent it gets. And that's why it's also good to have this sidebar over here, why you keep the ideas that you write down, so that ChatGPT can learn more about your writing style, what you like, your process, and help you to start churning out scripts faster, because it can take care of all of the breakdown work, the outlining, and everything else for you, and then you take all of that and write it into a coherent script. So now that you have all of these breakdowns, what you can now do is, as you're writing, let's say you are running into writer's block. What you can then do is you can go into ChatGPT and you can explain where you're running into a problem. So you can say, give me 3 creative and unique, how do you spell unique, ideas to get, what are these characters' names? Rachel, David, and Alex. Rachel and David out of the closet they locked themselves in. Now that might be obvious to somebody, like, oh, I can think of 3 creative and unique ideas about myself. Okay, fine. This is not for you. This is for people who are running into some writer's block and just need something to get their imagination kickstarted again. So here is something that ChatGPT can kind of spit out. So give me 3 creative and unique ideas to get Rachel and David out of the closet they locked themselves in. The haunted wardrobe. So Rachel and David find themselves trapped in a walk-in closet within the haunted mansion they're investigating. So see, right now, haunted mansion, we're already kind of off book because this takes place in a rustic cabin surrounded by dense foreboding woods. So you have to be careful, and this is why AI is not going to be able to write scripts right now, because as soon as they get halfway through the, let's say, 4th scene in a feature-length movie, characters are going to have different names, places are going to be located differently, motivations are going to be screwed up, and dialogue is going to be incoherent. And that's just the limitations of ChatGPT right now. And that's why you as a writer are still responsible for making sure that everything makes sense. You can use this as a tool to break everything down, but you ultimately have to write the actual script and make sure that everything makes sense. So you can take these ideas and you can go, okay, do I like or do I not like these? So within the cabin, they are investigating. As they desperately search for an exit, they realize that the wardrobe itself is possessed by a mischievous ghost. Well, how do they realize that? Well, I don't know. That's something you have to figure out as a writer. The ghost manipulates the clothes, creating a labyrinth of shifting hangers, tangled garments, and secret compartments. To escape, Rachel and David must solve a series of puzzles hidden within the wardrobe, deciphering cryptic messages hidden among the clothing and navigating its supernatural twists and turns. Okay, the time loop. Probably don't go with this one. Rachel and David accidentally activate a mystical artifact while exploring an ancient temple. Okay. The artifact plunges them into the time loop. Okay, so... and then, unbeknownst to Rachel and David, the closet they locked themselves in is enchanted by an eccentric and playful spirit. The spirit brings the clothes and objects within the closet to life, turning them into animated allies. The animated clothing forms makeshift limbs and creates a ladder out of the intertwined garments. Rachel and David must earn the trust of the animated clothes by helping them resolve their paranormal dilemmas, such as finding a missing sock or reuniting a lost pair of gloves. Through collaboration and problem solving, they gain the assistance they need to escape the lively but friendly confines of the closet. Okay, so, I mean, those are 3 creative and unique ideas. And it's just something that you have to then use and go, okay, I can use this, and I can write something based off of that to get my characters out of a bind, and that will take care of your writer's block. So this is honestly, and so okay, so let's move on to you've used ChatGPT to do the breakdown of your script and to do the structure that you like with characters, and let's say you put a twist in there, okay? You feed all of this information into ChatGPT, and then you can tell it to give you some log lines. You can tell it to give you some titles, and you can even tell it to give you some like opening scenes for a trailer, for this short film. Like what would you put in, and it'll make some suggestions. So sticking with our short film, The Silent Spectre. We're going to use this. Okay. We are going to tell ChatGPT to give us some ideas for a creative third act twist. Okay, so here we are. The betrayal, the unseen mastermind, and the sacrifice. So in the third act, it's revealed that one of the investigators, David, has been secretly working with the supernatural entity all along. David's true motives was to unleash the entity's power and harness it for his own gain. Just as Rachel is on the verge of breaking the curse and setting the spirits free, David sabotages her efforts, revealing his allegiance to the entity. A tense confrontation ensues, forcing Rachel to find an unexpected source of inner strength to overcome David's betrayal and ultimately defeat the entity, saving herself and the spirits trapped in its grasp. Okay, and this is something that you can use, and ChatGPT even gives you an opening to fill in the blanks, essentially, because it kind of knows that it's not writing this thing that you are, and you have to find the unexpected source of inner strength. Now you can ask ChatGPT, what unexpected source of inner strength can Rachel find? And let's see what it pops out with. Okay, so what unexpected source of inner strength can Rachel find to overcome David's betrayal and defeat the entity? In the face of David's betrayal and the formidable entity, Rachel discovers an unexpected source of inner strength within herself, her unwavering belief in the power of love and compassion. As David tries to thwart her efforts and align with the entity, Rachel taps into her empathy and connects with the trapped spirits on a deeper level. Rachel realizes that the entity thrives on fear, anger, and negative emotions, feeding off the discord it creates. In a pivotal moment, she chooses to confront the entity not with aggression or vengeance, but with genuine compassion and understanding. Rachel's unwavering belief in the inherent goodness of humanity and her ability to extend empathy even to the entity itself shakes its foundations. With a heartfelt plea, Rachel appeals to the entity's buried humanity, reminding it of the love and compassion that once existed within its own existence. She acknowledges its pain and suffering, urging it to break free from the cycle of vengeance and find peace. Rachel's compassion becomes a beacon of light in the darkness, ultimately causing a profound shift within the entity. Okay, so that's something. Is it perfect? Not really. Is that going to complicate the shoot a little bit? Probably. So maybe we don't go with that. And so everything that I'm doing right now is something that I call idea ping pong. And if this is the first video that you're watching from me, I'm going to be using this term a lot when it comes to writing and when it comes to coming up with creative concepts for films and whatnot. And what that is my writing process, and the reason why I like using ChatGPT when I can, is I will have an idea, and it'll be a very abstract idea, and I'll kind of have a direction that I know I want to go with it, like this. Like, I want to write a short film that is no longer than 15 minutes, 3 actors, 1 location, and it's paranormal, because I like paranormal. And so I'm like, all right, what can I think of? I can think of this, maybe I have, these 3 characters, they're investigating something and they accidentally unleash a demon, after playing a Ouija board maybe. And then, I need somebody that I can then feed that to, and then they can take that and they can ping pong it back to me, and they can go, yeah, that's a good idea, but maybe we don't have 3 characters. Maybe we just have 2. And those 2 characters, we can really focus on their characters, who they are as people, their motivations, and we don't have to worry about a third wheel screwing anything up, plus whatever we're doing for the entity. And then I go, okay. And maybe with that, I go, okay, well, then that makes me think of this idea. And we just play ping pong back and forth with creative suggestions and critiques and rebuttals, and ultimately come down to a story that we want to tell. You can do that very easily with ChatGPT. And you can tell it ideas that you like and tell it ideas that you don't like. And what ChatGPT will then do is remember that, so that the next time you ask it for ideas or you want to play idea ping pong with it, it will remember what you like and what you don't like and will tailor its suggestions based off of that. And that can be very useful. The breakdown and the outlining process for me is very difficult. So what I ultimately use ChatGPT for is the outline and breakdown phase. I give it everything that I want in a plot, all of the characters, all of their motivations, and how I want it to end and how I want it to begin. And then I tell it to write an outline based off of that. And it will. And then I'll tell it to write a 3-act structure, and it will. And then what I'll do is I'll have my script writing software up on one screen. I'll have my my breakdown and my outline on another screen, and then I will just start writing and just reference the breakdown and the outline as many times as I need to until I'm finished with the script. And then what I do is I will take what I've written and give it to other writers, and I'll ask them for feedback. And I'm going to go over the types of feedback to ask for in another video, and how to properly read feedback of your writing in another video. So those will be for another time, but then I will get the feedback back from the other writers, and then I'll write a second draft of the script and then repeat that process. So in conclusion, what ChatGPT can do for you is take a lot of the grunt work out of script writing so that you can get to the actual script writing phase faster. And this is good because it's going to cut down on a lot of time that could be better spent actually writing the script, figuring out really who your characters are, and coming up with creative ways to tell your story. If you are a working writer, this means that you can charge more for your services because it's not taking you as long to write. You can write something that's just as good in half the time that it takes another writer who is not taking advantage of tools like this. So that's one thing that you can do. If you're not a working writer and you're trying to break into being a working writer and you're just submitting scripts left and right, then this also means that you can write scripts faster because you can just spit them out, upload them to script writing contests or other challenges or whatever that you're trying to do. Even if you're writing a spec script, that's even easier now, because let's say you're writing a spec script for an existing property. What you can now do is you can tell ChatGPT that you're writing a spec script for, say, Star Wars, and you want to focus on these characters that already exist within the universe, and ChatGPT will be very good at helping you figure out like a nice story. I actually have an idea that I am working on now that maybe I will preview in another video, but I am using ChatGPT for that, and it is for a TV series. So, we'll see what happens. But anyway, I hope this video helped you guys, and I hope that this sort of eases any tension that you might have with using AI and what it ultimately means for writers, especially creative writers, and how it is a tool that, when properly used, can sharpen your skills as a writer and make you just better at your craft anyway. If there's anything else that you would like to educate me on as far as ChatGPT and AI writing software, please leave a comment below. I would love to read. Sorry, it's bug season down here. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to read it. And if there's anything that maybe you learned in this video, please let me know, because I really do like helping new filmmakers and even existing filmmakers get better at their craft so that we can lift indie film and begin a new iron age in filmmaking. Thanks.